Today we're going to ask and answer a specific question that a lot of freelance copywriters face both in client assignments and in their own work. And it's because they know digital products can very often open doors and they know how to write, but again, they want to focus their attention and activity. So the question is, what is the best AI tools to use to help me organize lots of my writing and format them into digital products? So I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. So this has both the elements of you're doing an assignment for a client. How do you organize a large amount of back issues? Maybe it's their sales letter controls. Maybe it's their process. Maybe it's a procedural element that works really well, and they want to package that up and offer it as a digital product. Now, a lot of people ask about digital products because they sound easy, but I think it should be a product. It doesn't matter if it's in print. It doesn't matter if it's a course. It doesn't matter if it's a PDF file someone downloads. None of that matters. We deliver products in the format that are most ideal for the clients, for the buyers. But in this case, the big question is AI tools, and that telegraphs to me they want a simple way to take a volume of information, digest it down into a course, and then or digital product, and then make money selling it. So the real goal here is, are you going to be able to deliver a service in the form of a product that you can make money selling? Now, stick with me if you don't know anything about information products. I like information products because you can do the work once and sell it many times. And as a freelance copywriter, as a marketing agency, a lot of times digital products are great ways to put in a lead funnel to demonstrate value and to get more leads, to help clients with those common things that you have to answer a lot. Like, for example, I'm answering this question and I'm packaging it in a podcast, which is a product per se, but I'm also answered the question in print, which gives me textual reference for a blog post or an article. But there's something else that I'm doing that's very useful that you could be doing too that helps you actually sell a product or to understand the viability of a product. So there isn't one tool. I'll share a little bit about what I use, but I use a note-taking app to collect all of my writing and materials, because the key here is this particular person asking the question has a catalog of past materials. And so how do we organize those materials so that they can be best used? I use the Obsidian note-taking app. Now, when I'm working with clients, we'll look at whatever app's best for you, because I've used OneNote and Evernote and SharePoint, and it just depends on my client's environment. But ultimately, for me, the 23 years of writing materials that I have are primarily in my Notepad program, which is Obsidian, so that I can search through those materials and I can determine kind of topic clusters in order to know what items I might be able to offer to an audience. So if your client gives you a pile of materials, very often turning them into plain text gives you a little bit more flexibility in a note-taking application. So you're going to ingest them into a note-taking application because you need to break down that text into the organization of an outline specifically aligned to your target customer. So here's where I kind of go off the side a little bit and I get better results because of it, is because I'm not organizing the writing around the product. I'm organizing the writing around the solution the client or the customer is seeking and desiring. So this is very important. The concept of writing a digital product, your sales letter deliverable or your email series deliverable, that is a digital product. And so the same tools you use to write a report or a book could be the same tools you're helping to finish client assignments more efficiently, more effectively, and of course more profitably. And so what I'll do is I'll write a sales letter based on what I believe the clients want, and then I'll build out my customer avatar, or I'll pull that out of a library. I'll start building out that buyer persona in context to the solutions that what I have to offer can provide. And then I'm going to go into AI, and it doesn't matter if it's ChatGPT, Google Bard, or Quillbot. And I actually use Quillbot to digest large documents into bullet points. Then I take those bullet points and I try to figure out, in context of that audience, which of these points are most important. And then from there, I write lead generation pieces. So the sales letter has an offer in it. I don't know if that offer is going to be good. but I build lead generation to generate some leads, and then I'll fill in the gap by surveying those leads and finishing off the sales letter. And then once I have the sales letter, I'll produce a product for the sales letter. But at this point, I know there's leads coming in. I know the sales letter has some interest. Maybe I've offered it as a spoken presentation. But again, the AI tools are going to help me determine what are the potential objections. What are the potential commonalities between pieces of content? I'll take a couple PDF files that are basically dumped out of so I'll organize a bunch of my articles inside of Obsidian, and then I'll dump out a big PDF file that doesn't have really specific formatting or anything, and I'll give it to a ChatGPT, for example, and I'll say, create an outline. So I'm writing a digital product for this audience, and I describe the audience. Create an outline from the materials provided that would best serve this audience. And then ChatGPT is going to build out an outline of what it believes would best serve that audience, and it may not be accurate, but I now have an outline to work with that I can start building materials into. I can start doing webinars, for example, about chunks of that particular piece of material. Then at the end of it, I can say, look, I'll do the same thing exactly here. So I've written a special report on content creation, and it works specifically on how do we get more customers, how do we create more customers, how do we keep more customers. And if you like what we cover here today, we have a coaching program available where you and I can sit down, and we're going to get you the right AI tools. We're going to show you how to use them. We're going to get you the right note-taking platforms and show you how to use them. And then we're going to show you the system that I use to create digital products. And I'll tell you right up front that many of the products I create are never sold, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. And it's okay if you've created products in the past and never found an audience for them, because again, our focus here is the freelance copywriting or the marketing agency, where you're creating passive income and growing your business both on services and, in this case, it could be digital products or a membership site or something else. But again, if it doesn't test well with an audience, why create the product? See, a lot of folks are looking for that AI tool that'll help them finish the product, or they'll help them organize to build the product. But what if the product has no buyers? Then why would you build it in the first place? So again, most products don't gain enough traction to go anywhere beyond a podcast episode or a newsletter issue. And that's fine, because now I have a podcast episode or a newsletter issue, and then I'm serving my customers. Now, when you're using information resources, digital products, print reports, webinars or events, those can start with an outline, and then you can start testing lead generation into a waiting list. And then from that waiting list, you can survey. We talk about that with our prospect surveys. I've got a big program about that. But essentially, what we're doing is we're trying to help the buyer or the buyers in that audience, help them help you finish the product. See, this right here that I'm sharing with you right now is part of a larger product on content creation that freelance copywriters use in order to write more content for their customers, as well as organize their customers so it's easier to write content. And if the customer really wants AI tools and fancy, you can show them AI tools, but the AI tool is not going to finish the digital product. It could finish a digital product, but not the digital product that you will be selling and actually making money from. And what I find along the way is when you start generating leads, you can spin off products and services. So for example, if you were going to use a digital product as a lead magnet inside your copywriting services business, you can get people on your list, but you don't need to sell them a 500-page home study program on how to do copywriting. There's plenty of those programs available out there. You can be the catalyst for implementation, where they get together with you on a discovery call, and then you just write the copy for them. Do you see how that works? So the AI tools can help you identify key pain points, possible headlines, long-tail keywords. Google Bard is really good for long-tail keywords or to digest content into keyword sets. Like I said before, Quillbot is very useful for taking a large document and bullet pointing it, turning it into bullet points. But none of these tools at the time of you listening to this may even exist anymore because, again, there are so many tools available. So it doesn't really matter what tool you use. I focus on the structure. Can we draft a sales letter that has reasonable value proposition and reduces risk for the buyer of whatever said digital product or whatever said physical product or whatever said course or whatever said webinar? Can we write a sales letter for it? And then once you have a sales letter, can we digest the sales letter into lead generation pieces, put them out in front of prospects, do a little paid campaign, and see whether or not it has legs in order to be worth actually writing? And if it doesn't have legs, but it's thematic to what your client's working on, or it's thematic to what you have as a business, can we pull pieces from it and use it as podcasts, pull pieces from it and use it as newsletter issues, and then put a micro action inside that piece of content, whether it's a blog post or a newsletter or a podcast or a webinar. We have a micro engagement of attending the webinar, and then we have a point of decision, which could be asking for more information. And then now we look at the people who ask for information and we can make specific offers to those individuals. This is extremely important because I know firsthand, I've got hundreds of special reports, home study programs. I've got a thing on article marketing that I know I've been paid to do several times, and I've worked with clients on article marketing, and that's the old name for content marketing today. But essentially what I extract from those courses became 10 or 15 podcasts. It became newsletter issues. Like there's this whole ecosystem, even though I didn't sell a lot of the actual product. I don't want you to be fixated on the product. I want you to be fixated on the solutions and the results that your clients get, because that's where the money comes from. So if you're going to write a sales letter and you're going to generate leads and you're going to go deliver a service, however you deliver it, whatever the modality is, we want that to be productive. And so I want to draw you away from the tools to help you organize and instead get you actual skills to organize, but to test whether or not you should be organizing it in the first place. It's a concept that blows the mind of so many people because we love to write. We love to scheme and figure out, how could we approach this with a different angle. But when you're working with a client, yeah, you're going to get paid to produce a digital product, but they're going to be disappointed if that product doesn't sell. If they spent $15,000 with you or tools or whatever to create a product that has no customers, that's negative $15,000 the day it starts, then you haven't delivered a high value service, which is the strategy of implementing words that sell. See, I can teach you how to write better headlines. I can teach you how to write better opening paragraphs. I can teach you how to do atomic organization of content, digest those materials into talking points like index cards, and then how to organize that to actually write a book, a whole book in 30 days. I can teach you how to write a book in 30 days. But again, I would rather teach you how to sell a large number of those books even before you're done. So essentially the customer, the client, the buyer of the book financed the whole project, and then you basically wrote an assignment for a handful of people. This is how my commissions work, okay? 10, 15 people approach me and they say, hey, look, we'd like you to write a technical paper for our trade association. And then I interview these people to find out what they want in the report. What questions do they have? What problems are they trying to solve? And then I write the report, which they paid for in advance, and then on delivery, they pay me again even more. So let's step back from what tools help me organize and write a product, and we now have a system for developing client assignments, which you're getting paid for, digital products that you can use to get more client assignments or your client can use as a lead magnet, courses, speeches, video sales letters, all of the spectrum of what the product that you get paid for. See, AI is fun. and I'll go in there and do some research on something, and I'll flesh out an idea, and I'll figure out what prism categories the audience is in, and I'll figure out what their pain points are, and then I'll do some mapping. But if I'm not getting paid to do that, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort that doesn't result in a monetary or a new customer relationship or a client able to multiply the investment that they made in me, and it's just not sustainable. So again, we want to resist using these tools to build stuff that has no audience. We want to instead use it to create minimal viable products that we put out in the marketplace to test ideas and to move forward larger high-ticket services. And then over time, we'll develop a course or a program that can become passive income. I've got a number of courses that are online that it doesn't matter to me if anybody buys them. It just doesn't matter. In fact, I give them away sometimes to high-value clients because the course has been written for years, and then when I engage with a client, I'll update the course because they might take it and use it internally. But I don't need any magic AI tools for that. I already know the content. I already know the methodology. I've applied it with clients in the past. I've used it in my own business. I don't need an AI tool to tell me anything other than what are the emotional pain points that I might be missing, and then how do we turn this giant gob of text into an outline that's going to be useful to somebody. And then finally, that information, I know how to write a sales letter. I don't need the AI to write a sales letter for me. Can you see how this works? So the AI is a distraction. The developing new products is a distraction. And then ultimately, the only path to go is to write a sales letter, generate leads around the sales letter, and then ultimately create the product with the client or create the product, the deliverable with the audience who's going to buy it. And so it's the same methodology that you would use when you work with a client to finish their assignments. They're going to give you a pile of controls. You're going to digest those controls, and then you're going to rewrite them, but you're getting paid to do this. You're not doing it on spec. If you're creating your own digital products without a paying audience, you're writing on spec. I'm going to leave it at that because that's something you got to... I hope you're taking notes because that's something once you realize you're going to do more work getting paid up front, and you're going to have more consistent income, and you're going to have more ability to hire an assistant, to hire a bookkeeper, to hire the people to help make the job easier of being a copywriter. And then ultimately, you're going to end up with $1 million agency. It really can be that simple. Now, if you want to sit down and develop these processes in your business, or you want to create a product itself, we have methodology to test, to find audiences, to put your materials in front of the right people to raise their hand and join a mailing list. And then we can walk you through the methodology in order to extract what you need from that audience in order to deliver to them a high-value course or product or home study or service so that you maximize their success. And then through their success, you gain testimonials and the cycle continues, and then you actually have a product that sells. It creates passive income for you, and if you're doing this for a client, it creates passive income for your client, but it is not as easy as just getting a tool to do it for you. It is a dialogue with that buyer, and that's the secret. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. We're here to help you transform words into clients and customers to build $1 million agency and do so while really just being efficient so that we can handle more assignments, so we can handle a backlog of clients, and we can really build something here rather than chasing some wild opportunity. If you have questions about this, visit www.adbriefings.co.uk. You can go to the contact page and ask questions. And then we have lots of free resources to help you write better copy. If you're interested in the business of copy and you join us as a member, supporting the site as a member, we unlock all kinds of cool stuff. And then we can talk in our group coaching calls about your specific needs. Because if you're not making 3 times the average earning for whatever area you're in, then you're missing out on the fundamentals. And once we get those fundamentals straight, you're going to have, like I said, a backlog of clients. You're going to have consistent and regular work. And rather than chasing new assignments, those new assignments will come to you. Want to thank you for listening and being a part of this podcast. It's a great joy for me to be able to deliver these materials after 20, 30 years of experience in the field as a copywriter, as a business analyst, as someone who is working at making six figures or better in a lot of these places. I'm here to help you. Thanks for listening. See you in the next one.